The lessons I'm going to teach today are how seasons occur. Part 1, the sun, the moon, and the earth. How seasons occur. Part 2, agriculture and human settlements. Note the timing of sunrise and sunset in your area. For the following period, by direct observation or using calendar, newspapers, or the internet, a specimen table has been given below. Record the entries for the month of June. Find the answer to the following questions and discuss them. You have to fill this chart by your own self. I'll show it to you. This chart. And what do? You must have noticed the change in the duration of daytime and the nighttime from 19 to 28 June. It takes 24 hours for the Earth to rotate around itself. It rotates from west to east. The Earth's rotation has enabled us to measure time in terms of days. During a simple day, we experience different stages like sunrise, midday, sunset, as well as the daytime and nighttime. To understand the changes in the location of sunrise and on sunset on the horizon, let us carry out activity given on the next page. So after 28 June, it became the nighttime duration is longer than the daytime duration, and from after March, about January, the duration of the daytime grows bigger, and the duration of the night time is very low. There are some examples. You can try it yourselves, since there's nothing really about it in this chapter unless you guys can try this. Okay, moving to the next lesson. The sun, the moon, and the earth. The moon's motions. Like the earth, the moon also has axial and orbital moons. The moon, while rotating around itself, revolves around the earth, and the earth revolves around the sun. As a result, though the moon does not revolve around the sun independently, indirectly, it makes revolution around the sun. The time it takes to make one revolution around the one and one rotation around itself is the same. That is why we constantly see the same side of the moon. The moon's orbit of the revolution is also elliptical as of the earth. Hence, the distance of moon from the earth is not the same everywhere along its orbit while rotating. While it is the closest to the earth, it is said to be perigee, and when it is the farthest, the position is called apogee. So, guys, we do know that the earth revolves around the sun. As a result, the moon does not revolve around the sun. मतलब जो moon है वो सन के रिवॉल्व नहीं होता, वो अर्थ को रिवॉल्व होता है, गोल गोल घूमना. एंड लुक, so when the moon is closest to the earth, it is called perigee, and when it's farthest to the earth, it's called apogee. And it's like a lot of kilometers far away, and so you need to keep that in mind. Moon is not very close to the earth, but it's like 3,56,000 km far away when it's in the perigee, and 4,07,000 km when it's in the apogee state. You have studied the phases of the moon, and you know its waxes from new moon day to the full moon, and how it wanes from the full moon to the new moon. We have already studied this in chapter standard 6, so you know how this works already, so I don't need to teach you this. See figure 2.2, which shows the different phases of the moon. It shows the relative position of the moon on both the quadrants, the full moon and the new moon rays with respect to the earth and sun. So yeah, We see the phases of the moon in the sky from the earth. They are the illuminated portion of the moon. They become visible due to the sunlight reflected from the moon. While revolving around the moon is on the opposite side of the half of the sun on a full moon day. Whereas on a moon day, it is positioned between the sun and the earth. On the third quadrant day, the earth and the sun make an angle at 90 degrees Celsius. At this point, we see the half of the illuminated moon, and it appears semi-circular in shape. So we already know this. So if you don't, it's not my fault. You didn't learn the lesson. You have to learn it. I'll tell about the eclipses. The orbital part of the moon and that of the moon are not in the same place. The moon's revolutionary orbit makes an angle of 5 degree with that of the earth. As a result, the moon intersects on the plane of the earth orbit twice. During the revolution, one each new moon day, the line joining the earth and the sun and the moon make an angle of various on full moon day. This angle is of 880. Even so, the angle on the moon may not be in one straight line in the same plane on every new moon or full moon day. Hence, eclipses do not occur on each new moon day or full moon day. So, like eclipses are very rare. They cannot occur like every full moon or new moon day, and they only happen about 6 or 10 months per year. No, but they're very rare, and if you want to see them, you have to. They're very beautiful, but make sure you have some glasses because they can affect your eyes very dangerously, and they're very dangerous to you. Solar eclipse. So there are like two types of eclipse called solar eclipse and total solar eclipse, and there are also called an lunar eclipse and a total lunar eclipse. There are two types of eclipses called lunar eclipse and solar eclipse. The moon is between the sun and the earth. The shadow of the moon falls on the earth at such time as the three essential objects are on the same place and fall in one line. Hence, the place on the earth where the moon shadow fall experience a solar eclipse. Like shown in this picture, you can see over here. This is the earth, this is the moon, and this is the sun. So like if they are in the same line, the sun affects on the moon and then the moon affects on the sun, and it will kind of show like this for you. But if you're like on the lower part of the earth, it will show you like this. It's called partial solar eclipse, and this is called total solar eclipse, seeing it from over here. Okay, this shadow is of two types. The central portion of the shadow is darkened purple light. In that the sun becomes completely invisible. This condition is known as total or solar eclipse. However, during the same period of places where the shadow is lighter, the sun is appeared partially covered. This disk is called this disk appeared partially covered. This is described as partial solar eclipse. So guys, partial solar eclipse from other angle will look like this. I'll show you. We saw the one partial solar eclipse angle, but there's another one. So like this thing that makes a ring around is when you watch it from here, like over here. But when this is like over here, when you watch it from here, and this is from the upper part of that. So like this makes it a partial solar eclipse. There are two types of partial solar eclipse. Keep that in mind. Sometimes the moon is in apogee position. This means it is the farthest from the earth. As a result, the deep shadow of the moon is cast in space and does not reach the earth. From a very small region of the earth, an Indian illumination of the sun is seen from a ring. This is called annual eclipse is a rare phenomenon. Annual solar eclipse are very rare. It has not shown the pictures when the moon is in the opposite position. The light is not reached to the earth, so the sun it forms a ring around that, and then we get to see a solar eclipse, and it's that. And there's another one, lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse occurs when the moon and the earth shadow of the earth while revolving around. At this time, it is necessary from the north. It is between the sun and the moon. All of the three are then in the on a full moon. Then the path of the revelry passes through the thick shadow of the moon. If the moon is totally hidden with the shadow, we see a total lunar eclipse. If the part of the is in, we see a partial lunar eclipse. It has not shown it, but look. Solar eclipse occur when the moon is in the middle, and partial solar eclipse occur when the moon is like over here. Partial solar eclipse occur when the moon is over here, like behind the earth, not in the middle. So if you get that, like if the moon is on the earth, no wait, I'll show you how it. So like if the earth is like the earth is shadowing the moon, it's called the total solar eclipse. And when it is on the middle of the how do I call this? Upma and Umbra and Penumbra. So this is a partial solar eclipse. You have to learn page number 7. It's not that hard and it's just about general knowledge. Okay, so we'll move on. How sides occur, part 3. Okay. Sorry guys, omitting how seasons occur part 2 because I haven't learned it yet and I don't know what's the meaning of it. So we'll move on to agriculture. In the picture shown above, we see this as standing crops, a pluck, share, etc. From this, it becomes obvious that this is a farmer's house. A farmer keeps hens, sheep, goat, and cattle. They are also seen. He gets milk, etc. from them. He sells hens, goat to earn money. It is all this for substances, and all this occupation depend on natural factors. All this fall under agriculture. Those occupations are supplementary to the cultivation of the crop. Agriculture has a wide scope for our basic need of food and clothing. We make use of plants and animals. Besides the cultivation of different crops, rearing cattle and the sheep goods, maintaining poultry farms, keeping bees, sericulture, horticulture, orchardry, pisciculture, pig farming, emu farming are included in agriculture. We all know that we get all this stuff from natural resources, and natural resources are those stuff that fulfill a person's need in order to help them do stuff like sheep. They're all from the like sheep, goat, and some vegetables. They're all from the nature, and all those rocks stuffs you make house with them. Those are all from the nature. This is called natural resources. And of course we know this is a picture of a village farmer because it's obvious that like there are goats, sheep, and some cows, and then he's coming back from work. It's all he's doing. Okay, next. Let's talk about animal husbandry. 53. Rearing difference and obtaining various upbringing from them for subsistence is the core of animal husbandry. So like there are a lot of animals, we get a lot of stuff from them. So like subtracting them, like dividing like pigs into another section and cows into another section for another need and cows for another need is called animal husbandry. Cows, oxen, buffaloes, etc. are reared for agriculture related work. Rearing much animals which can be employed in farming is also an application. It is considered to be an inspired mix of the mixed farming. It has become quite commercial in recent times. In India, it has started changing recently. Commercial dairy farming is mainly undertaken from mule and milk. Okay, that's very good. sheep and goat rearing. This is also a traditional occupation that is generally carried out in hilly and semi regions and with dry climate. Sheep and goats survive on short grasses. Like sheep and goat can survive with not a lot to eat, which grow in the remote hilly rural areas from urban settlements. In mainly undertaken for meat, sheep is rearing out to obtain wool. Of course, sheep is used for obtaining wool. Poultry. Keeping hens and fowl is a common practice in all parts of the world. It is a traditional occupation. Today, it is carried out as household occupation and also on commercial basis. Running a poultry on a commercial basis requires a lot of care. For this, science methods are employed. In India, this occupation is generally located in the areas close to big cities. They provide a ready to work. In some areas, rabbit and rearing is also undertaken. Became this occupation is undertaken to obtain honey and wax. Bees, in order to collect honey, hover around the queens. Of course, we know we get honey from our bees. So yeah, there's a lot of things you need to take care for bees. Give them proper care, give attention to them, and etc. Farms ponds are during for this purpose. I'll tell you this in my language because this is a very big paragraph. So like some people fish like farm fishes. So for that they like dig a hole and put water in it and put a lot of fishes in it, and they put some food to breed them, and after breeding them they kill some of them and again put some things to breed them again. So that's called pisciculture. That is called pisciculture. It So like Guam, Roha, Ravas, Columbi are reared in fish farms. Well, when breeding a new prajati is like a new form is transformed, and they can be sold for higher prices than the usual ones. So now I'll tell you sericulture in my own language, of course. So like silk thread is obtained from cocoon of the silk moth. These threads are very fine and sharp. So like silk thread is obtained from cocoon. To farm this, you need to get silk moth eggs to the farmers and some mulberry trees on the main food for the silkworm. When they eat those silkworm, they produce silk thread, and they once planted. They are very good, and you can keep doing that because cocoons do need mulberry to create silk thread. And one general knowledge question that mulberry leaves can live up to mulberry trees can live up to 15 years. Hence like timing. If the tree is were in a worse state, we have to replace it. But for mulberry, we don't have to. It can long up to 15 years for the sericulture. In the last few years, the area under horticulture, cultivation of marigold and the plants and horticulture has increased. These plants require so like nurseries are a place of small herbs, shrubs, etc. to keep care of them, because some herbs give medicine, some shrubs have some beautiful flower looking flowers. Yeah, and that. We'll talk about types of farming. Different types of agriculture have evolved due to geographical and cultural diversity and technological difference in different regions. These types of farming depend upon the purpose and aims of method of farming. These crops being cultivated technique used land use of broadly accepted as following types can be identified. Okay, I'll give you, and you have to draw this diagram. I have very problem. I have to draw this diagram of the. You can't read it. It's very types of farming. You have to draw the diagram because it's very important. And if you're willing for this exam, it's actually important for you. Subsistence farming. We will continue this on the next lecture. Human settlements flourish at places in favorable geographic conditions such as availability of water, conductive climate, fertile land, etc. In the early settlements, the occupation of these people were dependent on the locally available natural resources. This gave rise to separate tribunals of the people engaged in particular occupation. For example, people along the sea coast are engaged in fishing. Along the sea coast are engaged in fishing. Their settlements became fishing hamlets. Koliwada forest dwellers are tribal people used forest for their livelihood. They lived in forest areas in tribal hamlets. Agriculture is Adivasi Padas. Agriculture is practiced in fertile areas. With the passage of time, other associated occupation also developed gradually in this rural settlement. As a result, people from surrounding area migrate and settle there, and leading to an increase in the rural population. This process leads to a transfer of rural population into urban settlements. Due to religious, historical, commercial, educational reasons, and also due to tourism, the original settlements may transfer into an urban. The population and the necessary upon on a large scale, the urban areas go into Metapolitan cities. Using the resources from the surrounding, man constructed and started living in them. In the modern areas of science and technology, people have made a record progress in they even built skyscrapers. Man is thinking of constructing colonies in their plans and their satellite too in future. Scattered settlements. In scattered settlements, houses are too far away from each other. Generally, such settlements are found in high area of high relief, dense forests, grasslands, hot deserts, and extensive grasslands. Nucleated settlements. These are generally close to water sources like rivulets, rivers, etc. Rivers. In this area, the deserts of Rajasthan, we find nucleated settlements near assured sources of water. For some places, transport hub and mining centers, commercial centers often lead to the development of this type of settlements. Besides these reasons, defense, health, education, and the other social and religious factors can also give rise to nucleated settlement. Linear settlements are seen along roads, railways, rivers, sea coasts, and in foothill regions. These types of settlements are narrow in shape and they spread a long line, straight line. Characteristics: houses in these settlements are long in line. As the settlements grows in the course of time, multiple lines emerge. Roads are parallel to each other. Besides, some shops contribute to this. Settlements grow along with the roads. For example, such settlements are found along the coastal areas, major rivers, and natural or state highways in our country.